Well, hello, creatives, community, and kind folks. Welcome to RPG with DBJ. I am your host, DBJ, and welcome to the one and only channel on the interwebs dedicated to tabletop role playing, science fiction, hosted by yours truly. And of course, all of you that are able to take part in this show live, 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, are our co hosts. And today we're going to talk about, spoiler alert, the three body problem and some other first contact um, alien media. Now, we're going to make a slight differentiation, but in terms of first contact. So, we don't necessarily mean first physical contact with aliens. This showed the three body problem. There's a movie called Contact, and there's many others I'm sure you can think of where humanity has been in contact or believes they've been in contact with an alien source rather than the arrival of a physical starship in the atmosphere and aliens come down where we've seen stories told where the aliens are already on Earth in during their first contact. District 9, the Alien Nation, um, Earth Final Conflict. I think all of those come to mind. But in this particular one, the three body problem is a. I have not read the book, so we're going to talk about the television show and just oof, how much hard science fiction was packed into this show, and I'm sure the books go in from what I understand, going into even more detail. This is moistness of the highest amount. You're going to need absorbent towelettes for your nerddom in terms of the science that's involved in it. And I can imagine the writer just being overwhelmed with, like, sometimes we go down these rabbit holes of inspection when it comes to those of us that are really armchair um, knowledge graspers. Like, we grab for everything, and sometimes we learn things. And if you're a writer, you can get into the habit of, and I'm not saying the books are written terribly or that the show was done terribly, but I can understand why the three body problem series is very difficult to film. Yeah. 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 So woohoo, more moistness for people with no TV. Yes. So the three body problem, in short, let's all get on the same page. I'm sorry. I didn't see your comment there, Drew. Drew says, I've not read or watched it, and I think I will not do that since I disagree with the views of the author on authoritarian being a good thing. Yeah, and mind you, the books are written by from the point of view of an individual's culture and collectivism and things of that nature. And mind you, the television show is done a little. Many of the characters are taken apart and new characters added in to make it more of a global event. And I think it makes, I personally, from my opinion, I find it makes more sense to make it global. And we have a number of characters known as the Oxford Five. They're like these group of friends that are all brilliant, and we see the story unfold through their eyes and some of the choices they make. And of course, these characters are created for us to have a um, emotional tie while the story is being told, and it's a little bit difficult. The author's name is, sorry, I apologize. I don't have a sneeze button. Cough button. So let's see. The Three Body Problem, like, by Liu Cixin. First name first name Liu, last name Cixin. Liu Cixin, and is the second live action adaptation of the book series. Now, um, the let's get into the plot of the story. Uh, according to according to the premise, Yi Wenjie, an astrophysicist who sees her father beaten to death during a struggle session in the Chinese Cultural Revolution, is conscripted by the military. Due to her scientific background, she is sent to a secret military base in a remote region. Her decision at the base to respond to contact from an alien planet implicates a group of scientists in the present day, forcing them to confront humanity's greatest threat. And so, our one of our characters begins this entire um stop. One of our characters begins this entire journey because during this cultural revolution, portrayed in a television show, her father is beaten, and the public is taking revenge on scientists, educators, and essentially uh, d- beating them and torturing them, and saying they should be kicked out or exiled or tortured or murder killed because of their open-minded scientific views. And this young lady sees her father used as an example in a public fashion, and her own mother, fearing for her own life, turns against the family and joins this revolution. And so the young girl sees this, and we get an introduction as she sees, as our main character, as a young girl at this point in the 60s, we see her see the worst of humanity. And so she's put into a labor camp. But at a certain point, the Chinese government in the story realizes that she actually is very brilliant, and they kind of need these scientists. So she's taken to a remote satellite, and she's there to do work. But really, it's basically it's non-work work. But she decides to break many of the rules, realizes that against protocol, she could amplify a signal out into space by using the sun to amplify that signal. They don't explain how this happens back in the 60s, but they amplify a signal. And when the signal comes back, and I'm going to get to your comments in a minute. When the signal comes back, it it's from the aliens that basically say, don't contact us again. Essentially, I'm a pacifist of our aliens, and it's better for your survival that you don't contact us again. And she basically goes, F humanity, this sucks, presses the button, basically sending out a message, basically inviting the aliens to come to Earth to, uh, from her point of view, to recondition humanity, that we have done a terrible job raising ourselves, but an alien race with high technology who has conquered their own technological advancements, maybe we could lead our lives under them, that they could raise us, they could ascend ourselves to their level. And yeah, yeah, not interested, don't call back. Yeah. Now, Drew says collectivism is fine by me. That is quite common in Asia, but the devotion to the Communist Party of China is still not a good thing. And mind you, there's a lot of extremism in the show, and it basically portrays the idea where it storyline wise, it gives us a reason to understand the motivations from this character who contacts the aliens anyway, and why she did it. And it's pretty brutal for her. Now, mind you, we fast forward to modern day, and she's much older. She meets a gentleman who is a who back in the 60s or whatever. He's a young man from Britain and United Kingdom, and he is born into wealth from the oil, some kind of oil magnate, and he wants to save these birds. And they both meet and fall in love, and he is convinced, like her, that as the aliens are known as the Trisolarans or the Santi. I don't remember what the Santi translation is, but we're going to call them Trisolarans, and that's where the three body problem comes from. And the three body problem itself is a question and a statement. So the Trisolarans come from a planetary system of three bodies. So mathematically, it is very difficult to plot the gravitational patterns and pull of three gravitational bodies moving. And so they live in not just a binary star system, but a trinary star system. And every time their culture, and they try to show this in the show, it's very difficult. They try to show this in a television show that through these chrome headsets, I'm presuming the technology was beamed here to Earth, and humanity was able to build something that basically is impossible to build with our current technology. And these the Oxford Five are introduced to the world of the Trisolarans, and found that they are brilliant enough to help the Trisolarans in trying to mathematically figure out how to save their society. So every time their advanced civilization rises up, the chaos of the gravitational pull wipes them out. And then they've had to figure out a way to save their culture as much as they can through these devastations to then grow again. And then again they grow their culture and civilization. um yeah. Drew says if Santi is for some reason Japanese, then the san could mean three. And I believe there's a connection to that. And I believe the name Santi also deals, there's a cultural, how do I explain, wording. The three body problem is both a statement and a question in the culture. So the three body problem is also known as a question, like how do we figure it out? But the three body problem is the problem, which is why the Trisolarans are like, we need to leave where we are and go close. And apparently they're in the Alpha Centauri system, and they're 400 years away. So this is where our story starts. Within 400 years, they will arrive, and they take the okay, we're going to get into some deep nerdy shit here, which is crazy, but I love it. So the Trisolarans are able to communicate with human beings and Earthlings, even though they're 400 years away, traveling at 10% light speed, because they sent okay, they sent two Sophons, and Sophons, okay, two Sophons are on Earth. The other two Sophons are back with the Trisolarans. And the Sophons are protons that were unfolded to be planetary sized computer systems. So they unfolded a proton, or the Sophon, I guess is what the technology is, used their high technology to build upon it microcircuitry the size of a planet. Big flat plane is how it looks like it's described. Pack it in there and then fold it up. And then they use the two Sophons and quantum entangled them with two protons that are uh, on Earth or sent to Earth, some bullshit, right? And and so now the two protons that are Sophons, which are these massive mega computers, are zipping around Earth, allowing them to see and hear and disrupt technology and people's vision and all kinds of godlike abilities, even though they're 400 light years away due to quantum entanglement. Yeah, relax. I know quantum entanglement doesn't work that way, but again, if you're deep into nerdism, it's kind of cool to think you could have instant, not just instant communication, but a computer system the size of a proton, um, both on Earth and 400 years away, as they are traveling here. So the Sophons, the reason why the two twin Sophons are here, one is disrupting all of our technologies that are leading us into a advanced state of being. And the Trisolarans want to arrive here by this fact. Okay, they know that, and the show explains this, that from humanity's written language and use of tools till modern day, that we are exponentially creating technologies and advancing ourselves so fast that although the Trisolarans out we they are technological gods, and we are literally, they send a message to us that we are bugs. We are to them as humans are related to bugs, meaning like we give very little, we recognize very little about the social implications and the goings on in the lives of bugs. We just step on them, and those bugs don't really understand human society, but they're just underfoot and more of pests to us. And the Trisolarans are like, yeah, right now you guys are pests, but at the technological rate humanity is going, within 400 years, we, without disruption, will outpace them technologically speaking before they get here to save their culture. So they have to figure out a way to prevent us from accelerating to that point. Now, there's a little bit of a Trisolaran um, wish fulfillment that you telling us humanity this is kind of making us do it. So yeah, shitlord says, yeah, we are already underfoot. Yeah, you're right. So there's a lot of technologies in this, and what I love about the show, uh, although there it is a little problematic, and in a way, not when I say problematic, I mean filming, not nothing social. What I mean is the filming of the show and the depiction of things. You're looking at it like, uh, I get you needed to use CGI, and I understand why, but some of it just doesn't look right. And but if you're a nerd and geek and you love the science, you can look past it. If you're not into that kind of thing, I can see someone like falling asleep on the show, and it's like, like for example, one of the Oxford Five is a, I'll dare say, um, she's a great actress, but I won't say painfully attractive. It's weird to say that, but what I mean by that is sometimes Hollywood likes to hire people, and you can tell that they hire some of these individuals because they are a face. Not sloppy, more like, I don't think it's wrong how they portrayed it, but the way they did portray it, you're going like, yeah, I see why you did it that way, and it still doesn't look right. And you don't want to explain, you want to show, not tell. And there's enough walking and talking in the show to fill three novels. um, there's a lot of people in rooms talking in the show, and so they have to show us things. And sometimes showing us those things is really strange. Like for example, the the Sophons are able to affect people's perceptions and things like that. And individuals working on scientific projects that are going to advance society end up, across their vision, they have this strange countdown number, and the countdown number starts driving them insane. And these brilliant scientists begin self-deleting themselves because they're being driven insane by the numbers in their eye. And I suppose it's three. I suppose let's get some images here, and it'll show some of these, because they're if you aren't into the show and you see some of the images and you haven't seen the television show, you're like, what the hell does that mean? And why do they keep showing this thing? Why do they keep showing that thing? So in this particular one, let's see if I can get this bigger here. So you see an eyeball with numbers etched across it, and one of our main characters, amongst other brilliant people around the world who are self-deleting themselves due to being driven insane by these numbers in front of their eye, she's working on carbon nanofibers. And her work on that, the Sophons are go into her body some kind of way and project this countdown into her vision, and she ends up temporarily shutting down the nanotech project. And everyone's like, why are you doing this? And there's no reason for it, and we're about to make a breakthrough. And here is an image of our, let's see, let's put this one up. You can't really see them. Um, Here's an image of our Oxford Five plus some other characters here. Um, One of the characters that played Davos. Many of the actors that are in the show have been recruited from the old Game of Thrones because Benioff and Weiss produced this show. Great actors, by the way. I love all of them, but it's pretty funny. And yes, our main character here, she's a face. Uh, Great. Honestly, she's really a good actress, but you could really tell they were like, we need a face. We need someone model like. I know. Let's make her the scientist. And so it's painfully obvious. Anyway, so yeah, the numbers would for the person the wrong way looked very stupid. That's no. Well, yes, I hear what you're saying, Drew. That's from the point of view of the marketing, but for the character, they see it projected across their field of vision, flipped around. Yeah, I hear you. I've seen that before. Like for example, Drew, I'm not picking with you. I'm actually with you because have you ever seen a flashback scene where the flashback isn't from the point of view of the person having a flashback? The flashback is from a third person point of view, and you're like, they wouldn't see their memory from that point of view. They'd see it from their own eyes, right? Sometimes they do that. I'm like, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. They wouldn't hear or see something that they had no way to visually see. Um, so anyway, that's one part of the show, and mind you, there is a visually horrible, lethal, horrific scene in one of the episodes. It's a spoiler alert. That is amazing when it comes to the nanotech fibers. So uh, our Oxford Five realize, and the world realizes that the Sophons are here on Earth, and the Trisolarans are on their way. And this is how it happens. The At one point, she tells her and her friends. She explains to them that she's having these nightmares and um, to look up in the sky at a specific time and place, and which is imprinted in her vision. And when everyone in the world looks up in the sky, and I don't know how they do this, the stars begin to blink in Morse code, and everyone in the world sees the stars blinking. And the reason is because the Sophons have been affecting physics, our ability to analyze physics, and that our understanding of physics has been limited on purpose by the Trisolarans so that we don't advance, which is why like our colliders around the world are not working correctly and are spitting out strange information and things like that. And basically, a giant eyeball opens up in our own sky and basically blinks at us as if to say like you're nothing but bugs, and they send an image across every digital platform around the entire world explaining to everyone that you're nothing but bugs, but bugs. You'll also see in the this image of the satellite, and that's where the very first signal was sent away and sent to the Trisolarans to come here and arrive here. Now, the young lady that ends up becoming older. Let's see if we can find her. Here she is. Who, in our modern day, is here. Her and her husband began a cult dedicated to the Trisolarans, which they collectively call their lords. And they are inviting the Trisolarans to Earth. And they communicate with them through these Sophons and uh, in real time. And one of our characters is on who was an very rich billionaire, oil and things like that, takes a cargo ship, transform it to have families and friends and everyone living there, all the cults there. And on the ship, there is a big satellite dish to communicate with the Trisolarans. And during the communication, he ends up reading a child's fable I think it's the Big Bad Wolf or something like that. Red Riding Hood, if I'm not mistaken, but it doesn't matter. It's a story, fictional story. Reads the Trisolarans. This one's again. This is a bit of a nerdyism where the Trisolaran that he's reading the story to goes, so explains like, so when in history did this Riding Hood with this red cloak go and kill this werewolf kind of creature? And he's like, well, it's not real, it's fake, it's a lie. And the Trisolarans are like, well, what do you mean by lies? And he's like, well, do all of you lie? Is this what you people do? And he's like, no, well, humans. He's like, well, I lie and we all lie sometimes. And I'm in my head, I'm going like, what are you doing? You for a brilliant person, you're stupid. There's a difference between lies and purposeful deception, to trick someone, and a fable and a story, which is a artificial story that we are able to tell ourselves. And there's a difference between the two, right? Entertainment is different than someone trying to purposely deceive someone to get them to act or behave or believe something that um, is being used against them. It's just really weird. But anyway, so the Trisolarans are like, oh, we we don't have that. They make the implication that the Trisolarans are psychically bonded with each other, so they don't have artificiality between each other. And I'm just like, okay, wow. So now our character realizes like they're not coming here in 400 years to help us. They're going to come here to wipe us out, because the fact that we can lie is a concept not only do they not understand, but they realize might be a threat to them. So very cool. Now they they need to get valuable. There's a organization run by the, I'm going to call him Davos, Ian Cunningham. I'm sorry. Yeah, Ian Cunningham. Um, and he runs a black ops organization that he starts recruiting many of the members of the Oxford Five, although some of the Oxford Five members die. And he starts recruiting them, and they need valuable communication, a hard drive essentially, off this uh, cargo ship known as Judgment Day. They can't bomb it. They can't send a black ops team on it with guns and rifles and things like that, because the moment they are assaulted, they're going to destroy the hard drive. If they launch drones at it with bombs, they'll destroy the hard drive. So how do they get the hard drive off the ship without alerting everyone on the ship? So they come up with this bright idea to take the young lady's, the actress's name is Rita Gonzalez, to take, I think the actress's name is Augie. So they want to take her nano-fiber technology, and they string up these um, monofilament nanofibers across the Panama Canal. And there is a horrific scene in the television show where the cargo ship sails through a net of monofilament wire, and it is brutal. The let's see if we can find the, let's see, um three, let me see if there's any imagery. Problem monofilament. Let's see. Let's see if they have any. It's hard because it's hard to explain how someone. Okay, all right, all right, all right. Let's see. Here it is. Yes. Mm, it's hard to show the imagery on this because wow. So the ship, if you can see from the to my left, the right side of the ship, you can see it starting to like fray, like there's like little strips of metal and stuff, as it starts to travel through this monofilament wire. Mind you, you can't see the wire because it's monomolecular, but as it starts traveling through it, and it reminds me of an old movie called Ghost Ship, where You literally see, let's see if we can see this one here. Here's another image of it where the ship got pulled into like strips and members of the crew start like falling apart. Yeah. Yeah, Drew says fairy tales are not lies, they are hyper truth. They contain deeper truths, moral lessons, in other words, wisdom. And mind you, fairy tales, um, Greek mythology. Here in the States, we have a number of Aesop's fables, things like that. They are, like you said, they're moral lessons. They teach us about ethics. They also give us warnings about safety for children and things of that nature. They are metaphors. They are similes. They are not lies. And I was like, why is this brilliant dude calling them all lies? Like, what? Now, mind you, the Trisolarans did cut the conversation off pretty quick. So he wasn't able to, like, hold on, let me get a thesaurus and a dictionary and let me explain this to you. Like, I'm just like, dude, like, really? You should have some kind of like search engine open while you're talking to these people because you really explained it in the most horrible way. But yeah, there this monofilament wire ran through the and mind you, there were women and children, innocent, relatively innocent people on this ship. Here's another weird image of it as the ship ran aground as it was sliced with mono wire filament. It was like, ooh, nasty. It's really cool. It was one of the most dramatic scenes in the show. Let's see if we find one more image here. It's hard to see it, but yeah. So what are some other technologies did they use? So to contact, I'm going to explain two more technologies or systems, then we're going to get into our world building. Sorry, I had to go through this. So to contact the Trisolarans, humanity has to. How do we intercept them? Well, we don't have faster than light travel or anything close to it. So they come up with something known as a staircase. And the staircase system is they want to um, place 1,000 nuclear weapons in a series in the upper orbit and outside of our Earth's orbit, and then launch a starship with a sail on it, a small probe with a sail on it. The sail has a hole in the middle of it, and with the monofilament nano-fibers making a giant sail, the nuclear weapon is detonated, and the explosion will push and accelerate the probe. And what happens is, because of the vacuum of space, if you accelerate something, it will remain moving at that speed. So as you detonate in a specific pattern faster and faster, each subsequent nuclear weapon, well, you could either detonate the nuclear weapons in a series faster and faster, or you could just extend out their length. They don't really go into, did they make the nuclear weapons further and further apart, or did they try to detonate them faster and faster? But anyway, as you detonate each nuclear weapon, it accelerates the probe faster and faster. And they figured mathematically with 1,000 nuclear weapons, they could detonate something close to like 0.10% of light speed or something like that. Not 10%, but like 1/100th of light speed. But anyway, we want to meet the Trisolarans halfway. So, but then you realize that our Black Ops leader is like, well, we're not just going to send a probe, we're going to send a human brain. And he's like, a human brain? Why can't you just send a human person? Well, a human person wouldn't be able to survive the trip. But a human brain is small enough with the weight processes that um, the human brain is light enough and the density is small enough and can be put in suspended animation so that we could launch it and it could survive 200 years under cryogenic sleep. I know, to get there within at least 200 years and meet them halfway. But we have to pick the perfect person, someone who knows physics, someone who um, isn't working against the Trisolarans and everything. And of course, one of our characters who is also dying from cancer. Yes, we feel our heartstrings are pulled, blah, 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 who volunteers to have their brain basically removed just before death, to be cryogenically frozen, to be sent into space on this probe, to be launched, and it's called the staircase. And I'm just like, what the hell? And again, this is one of those like science and futurism with Isaac authored kind of things like, oh, we can go to Alpha Centauri using nuclear weapons. And I'm just like, oh my good. I'm not saying it couldn't be possible. I'm just like, the high mindedness of this math and the technology is useful, and using like nuclear weapons to push or to be used as like a pressure plate to push a starship, or to be used in a solar sail kind of thing is like wild. Mind you, in the they only got 300 of these nuclear weapons, not 1,000 that they wanted from around the world. And then 3 launches in, one of the cables busts, and the human brain probe goes sailing off into the distance. It doesn't work. So that fails. Okay. So lastly, because the Sophons are protons that can travel basically instantly around the world and disrupt all of our electronics, even affecting our science, the Sophons, what they can't do is read the human mind. They don't understand what lies are, and they don't understand what's in our brain. So what they did is they decided to find 3 individuals to become wall facers. And the 3 individuals who become wall facers are going to, without writing anything down, are going to be individuals who are going to help humanity um, advance ourselves to protect ourselves from the Trisolarans. And the wall facers are like the monks who went up into the mountains and stared at a wall so much that they were able to penetrate the stone in the walls. Also, I get the idea that the wall facers, and mind you, one of the characters, the black gentleman, Saul, he ends up becoming one of the 3 wall facers, and they pick him not due to his intelligence, not due to his background. They pick him because the Trisolarans want him dead, so he must be important. So they pick him as a wall facer, and he's like, "I don't want to be a wall facer." And the World Committee is like, "Yes, I understand. You do not want to be a wall facer." He's like, "No, seriously, I don't want to be a wall facer." Like, no, they're like, "Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We get it. You're trying to tell everybody you don't want to be one, so you think so it sends a message to the Trisolarans that you don't want to be, but you really are one." And he's like, "No, no, no, I really don't want to be one." They're like, "You sound convincing. Great, thumbs up." Right? So but I do get the idea, and let's get into our world building. I like the idea of the wall facers, meaning like you can't read if you can't read the mind of someone and they face the wall, but you can see through their eyes and hear what they're hearing, experience what they're experiencing. But if I face a wall, you don't know what's happening. And therefore, despite you gathering as much sensory information from me as possible, I can fool you while I watch a wall. It's like covering up the camera on your computer, or like facing it the wrong way, right? There's sure someone can hack your camera, but they're not going to see anything. And it's the exact same thing. It's like these wall facers, and I like that idea. So let's get into our world building, because I really butchered this 3-body problem. So, in short, 400 years from now, aliens will arrive here that are godlike in their technological advancement. And they are not here to make friends. They're basically like, oh, we can get to a planet that doesn't have a 3-body problem that's going to wipe us out. We can just get to their planet and their solar system and everything. I do have a now. I think in the books they try to explain this. It makes me wonder, like, if your civilization can leave your 3 Trisolaran star system, why couldn't you then just settle all the other rocky bodies before you even get to Earth in the first place? But maybe that's just me, right? Like the Trisolarans could land on Mars and terraform Mars, and there's nothing we could do about it. Like it's not like they have to land on Earth, but whatever. we get it. We're humans. We're Earthlings. We're important. Blah blah blah. Goldilocks zone. Whatever. Um, so what I like about this idea of first contact is, what do we do as humans in prepping for the arrival of aliens? And I think there's a lot of opportunity to use modern gaming. Like I think Call of Cthulhu would be excellent. And there's, mind you, that's just one game out of thousands, tens of thousands of role playing games out there that use a modern context. So many factions and political systems and economics and the upward bound and downward slide of the way we think of life. And how collective will we be? Would there be a world scientific system, which is kind of brought up in the television show, that there's like this black ops guy who's like, listen, I need to save humanity, so if that means I've got to break a few eggs along the way, i.e. sacrificing people's lives and their humanity and their civil rights, and putting out a lot of lies and things like that, well, maybe I might have to. And even the guy when they create advanced hyperstasis, he's like, what I'll do so that I'm still alive in 400 years, I'll go into hyperstasis, and 1 week a year I'll waken up, clean up all the bullshit that you guys are keep messing up, and then go back into hypersleep again for the next year. And like, hopefully I'll be alive in 400 years. And everyone's like, wait, what? What? I mean, there's a lot of concepts like that in this show, and you're just like, okay, I think you glossed over something. I think you glossed over a lot of things. Yeah, Drew says godlike, so completely imaginary then? You know how it is. You know the term. Technology so advanced that it might as well be magic. Basically, that's what it is. Especially the whole concept of the Sophons. Yeah, Shitlord says we collect a lot of toilet paper. Maybe that's what they need. Let's see what Sophons. What? How do they describe it? Because I think I destroyed it. A Sophon is a fictional proton-sized supercomputer from the three-body problem that is sent by the Trisolarans to halt scientific progress on Earth. And it makes you like for example, one of our Oxford 5 is murder killed on camera. Um, you know, throat cut, killed, murdered, right? And the Sophons erase the presence of the person. So on video, the person has been deleted and there's no evidence of who or what killed this person. And like for example, like there's a Reddit forum, like, can someone explain the Sophons? And here's the problem with the Sophons is it's much like, okay, if anyone has ever seen, if anyone has ever tried to write a story involving Superman versus a story that involves Batman, you get this issue where you get someone or something that is so godlike that you you have problems with writing stories, which is why um, so many so many fanboys love their favorite superhero characters or their favorite character from their favorite fiction, and they want them to be all powerful. But then you don't tell any stories because then they have there's no conflict. And the Sophon issue to me is just like, well, if you can do anything, then why don't they just kill everybody they don't like and be done with it, right? It's just weird. That's just my opinion. But I get it. I get what they needed a way for the Trisolarans to communicate here on Earth and disrupt what's going on here on Earth without them actually being here physically. And so in world building, I like the idea that maybe there are some people who have somehow connected to the alien race or signal. And it doesn't even have to be alien. Let's presume in your setting that humanity launched a generation ship out into space. And it's been 50 years plus, right? And that generation ship doesn't have to be launched in 2024. It could have been launched in 1930s or 50s or something. It could have been launched back then, or you have an alternate timeline for your modern setting. And hey, we really did have, when we went to the moon, we created a moon base and launched some starship and a generation ship from there. And it's like, I didn't know that. And like, well, you just know now. And oh, by the way, they sent a signal back letting us know something, and maybe humanity has been going long enough or has changed, or maybe there's some kind of knowledge that we gain that is so devastating, or some, like, maybe there's a warning they send back, like, the generation ship sends back a video, or it sends back digital information, kind of like what I'm using in Obsidian Star. Maybe it sends back a warning, or a storyline, or advanced technology, or something like that. Like, it sends back a questionable, um, a questionable enough information that it would disrupt the way we think of the universe and life itself. And I think that would be very cool. And in so much as, would are there going to be people who feel are there going to be cultists who want to take advantage of the fact that people believe in these alien lords that are going to come down and ascend us to another plane of existence? Hell yeah. Hell, we love cults in tabletop role playing games. You gotta throw in a couple of cults in there. What about military? Would the military just follow their own governments, or would they become their own, like, mercenaries? Do Are there certain locations around the world that would become militarized, police wise, to keep people from rioting in the streets? Probably. Would there be individuals who walk away from their lives to lead a utopian life and realize, well, 400 years, we're probably dead? Are there people who are just going to try to lead their lives as normal in a world that's collapsing around them? Yes. And I like that idea. I like the idea of, like, assassinations and blackmail and um, strings being pulled behind the scenes, so on and so forth. Yeah. Shai says, sounds like a big, big, big brain show. Did they even show it in America? Yeah. 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 Shai says, the way I look at the universe itself is already might as well itself is already mighty well disrupted. Thank you. Yes. Yes. It is a big, big, big brain show, and very, I can see how difficult it was to visually show many of the concepts in it. And yes, the writer of the books um is very proactive, pro people working together to supplant their individual freedoms to work together to solve a problem. And like Drew already said, collectivism, yes. Totalitarian communism, no. But that is essentially, if aliens were coming to Earth, we probably would have to work that way together. And would we? I like the idea that maybe there is a underground faction of all of the governments working together, but outwardly they have to pretend like they don't want to work together, or vice versa. The United Nations becomes the global government, but you have all of these other, like in Obsidian Star TTRPG I'm working on. In that setting, they're known as paper nations. They are as flimsy and have as much power as the paper they are written on, in a world where no one uses paper any longer. They are yellow and fragile and can blow away in the wind. So maybe individual governments and cultures start fading in the distance, while this world government. Yeah, shitlord says that's already what we're doing now. I agree with you. Yeah, I mean, look at us. We're talking across the pond right now with very little government interference, or at least that's what we perceive it to be. And who's to say that there won't be a period of time in the future where we are citizens of no nation, And I mean, there's been projects where people are like, listen, I want to get on a ship, go out into the ocean, and be a citizen of no nation. Like, we want to make our own country. Difficult to do that, but who's to say that might not be a thing in the future? And there, I can see people being very much against a collective, governmental styled world in which individuality starts getting supplanted, which is in and of itself is its own issues. Also, the to to my left is that, you see the imagery of the three body problem, and you see it's uh imprinted over like the Chrome headset. What kinds of technology are arriving here on Earth that are being given to our antagonists? Maybe there's some things given to our protagonists. Using Numenera cipher, like, are these like one shot ciphers that you can use, that if you use them too many times, or you have too many of them, it might disrupt your mind? Or like, how is this technology given? What do you give up from yourself to obtain the ability to use or gain access to this technology? Oh yeah, shit. Lord says, yeah. I meant we're trying to lead normal lives when we're already circling the drain pipe. Yeah. Well, I'm a glass half full kind of person, so I believe there's some goodness, but there's you gotta break a number of eggs. Most people feel like everyone else's eggs are going to break, and they align themselves um, with factions or political thought or social thoughts and things like that, that they feel is superior to everyone else's, and don't think that they're going to be caught up in the getting crushed as a bug under ground under the in the great gears of the machine that is going to revolutionize the world and things like that, right? Like like everyone's just like, what, UBI, Universal Basic Income, 4-day work week, blah blah blah. And I work in a job where, like, for example, here in the United States, we get mail delivered 6 days a week. And what do people say to me? I didn't get any mail today. Don't I get something every day? And I'm like, well, not in a 4-day work week, you won't. you know, Everyone likes it for themselves. They don't like it for everybody else. And that's the thing. Sure, you can give everyone else universal basic income, but all the people that have to do all the work for everyone else who's not working are going to be pretty pissed off. So at some point, you got to understand that shit got to get done. Who does it, and how do you convince those people to do it when other people aren't doing it, or don't want to do it, or don't have to do it? Because I'm an optimist too. After all, life is just a gas station glory. Oh shit, that's that sounds bleak. I hope you're using uh, uh, alcohol swabs when you're going through these gas stations. Well, he's not the only. Listen, Andrew Yang, although he's one of the biggest proponents, that's not something new. But yeah, the UBI was just Andrew Yang's sale pitch to draw attention to our certain replacement by AI automation. Yeah, that hasn't UBI has been around way before AI says, and Andrew Yang's not the first to talk about it at all. And that's just one concept of when humanity creates technologies where other humans don't have a place to go. When technology we're getting to the point where the car replaced the horse, but people who took care of horses could learn how to take care of cars. But if we have instant transportation, there's only so many people that are going to fix transporter systems. The other people who used to fix cars have nowhere to go. All the highways and things that need to be maintained to maintain those cars, and all the rubber for the tires, and all the like, at a certain point, and so that's where that comes from. And I think the idea of, like, um would it be good for us to contact aliens, and how do those aliens, I mean, now mind you, in the story Three Body Problem, we are pretty much told that they're going to come here to eliminate us. But that question could literally be up in the air or even not even answered in your own setting, right? It could be maybe the aliens are like, "Oh, you are our neighbors. We're coming to visit. We'll be there in 400 years." And that might be the all of it. And the humans are like, "Okay, are they going to be good? Are we bad?" Many people are going to say, "Well, we're going to need at least a 5 super weapons to just in case they turn against us." Um, should we be using the technological plans they're sending to us? Like, or is this a method for them to supplant our own imagination so that they can like, are we literally building machines for them to use against us on our own earth or something? Shai says, yeah, indeed, the idea of UBI goes back to the 14th century. Andrew Yang is important as a pop culture figure. Yep, for the current generation. So secure the bag. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And also, like, some of these what I like about using this as world building is some of these pie in the sky ideas, meaning like um social programs, political systems, technology. Like, I think it would be really cool to have a modern day setting and bring these things that don't exist today, but just theorized, and bring them to life in the world. What would that look like? And not only what would that look like, both make the utopian and dystopian versions of all of those things. So, for example, let's say some scientific lab finds out that there is a computer program uh, for extending human life, and they realize that they've just solved the problem of immortality. That our as our DNA breaks down, they figured out a way to prevent that. Who gets access to that? I guarantee you there'll be people murder killing over that. Who gets to pay for it? $1 billion per injection, right? Like, for sale. Or you know who only gets to have it? Me and the people I know. How long could they keep that a secret? Not very long at all, right? If you can live forever, where do you live to prevent yourself from dying from external um, events? Meaning, like, does this immortality serum prevent you from getting sick? Does it allow you to heal like a Wolverine healing factor? Does it prevent you from getting suffering from radiation or car accidents? Should I say, never trust a sincere politician. They might actually do what they say they will. Yeah, that's hilarious, shitlords. Oh, I love that. Yeah, be careful. um, but yeah, like, how do we? I think it would be awesome to see, like, um to overlay like our major cities, our suburbs, our rural areas, and overlay them with these new things. Like, imagine here we go. Let me see if I can get the art of Tales from the Loop. Let's see if we can find some of this imagery here. um So, for those who are not aware, there is an artist, Simon. Oh God, I'm going to butcher his last name. Simon Stalinog. There's an umlaut over the A, and I don't know how to pronounce the over that. Stalinog. Uh, anyway, Simon, because we're on first name basis. Um, Made this artwork, and a role playing game was built around the artwork. And for those who are not familiar with Tales from the Loop, this artwork was turned into that role playing game. And there are some amazing bits and pieces of this art where it is um, um, normal, everyday, like 1980s ish society on mixed in with high technology, and I think that would just look really cool. I mean, here's like a small child with a backpack controlling like a one-armed robot walking towards a police van. Like, what is that? Or here's another bit of imagery. Like, there's some police police cars. I don't know if this machine is working or not, but there's somebody standing underneath it. There's some slash marks. Is someone shooting at it, or I don't know, but it's like there's like this activity in it. Here's another image of I hope I am showing this to you. Yeah, yeah. Here's another image of like a floating vessel with someone coming home with some groceries in the snow. I think that looks like a Volvo or something like that. And they're just looking up in the sky. They don't seem too panicked by it, or maybe they're about to drop their groceries. I don't know. And what the hell is that thing anyway? Right? And I love the art and how this was world built. I'm going to show another image here of, you know, is is that a destroyed, or like did it fall in the middle of the road? Did it explode? Why is there a glowing light from it? There's some pretty cool things here. Uh, and I can imagine like this three body problem making problems for society, especially if the PCs are the enforcement arm of this enforcement arm of your setting, where they are collecting, policing, using, um, trying to prevent the the downfall of civilization while also trying to get some kind of um, create some kind of order in this world. And I'm going to leave this the last one up. This is from Free League Publishing. Yeah, here's a bunch of kids out there. It looks like they have fake-ish rifles. um, um, yeah, and there's the loop. But really cool. But anyway, so anyway, I wanted to give some spoiler alerts. Spoil some things about the three body problem, and that it is about what does humanity do, and both from a organizational standpoint and individual characters who are living their own lives, love lives, and families, and all that kind of stuff. How do they reconcile their own life? And mind you, the aliens won't be here for 400 years. So for the most part, most of the people today will not be alive to see the aliens. So we do get the dichotomy of one of our main characters in the Oxford Five, who's suffering from, unfortunately, terminal cancer, who's come to terms with it. He's like, nah, I'm going to pass away. And there's these other people who are scrambling around, and it's like, well, I understand. I kind of understand why you're scrambling around, but also the part of me is like, well, why are you doing that? Like, there's no need to panic because you're not going to be here when they arrive. Or will you be here when they arrive, right? Like, will you as a person be here, and what kind of world will you leave behind? And I can see someone having legacy, trying to create a legacy that, as they move forward, as society moves forward, their legacy is there to show them, hey, listen, humans, we may be bugs, but we're going to go down with a fight. And at the end of, it's a little depressing, but at the end of the three body problem, knowing that their mission failed to send this brain of their best friend off into to meet the Trisolarans, uh, with the assumption that the Trisolarans would or could rebuild the brain of their best friend. And they even tell their best friend, like, listen, their technology may be such that, oh, they could plug you into a computer system and torture you for a millennium. They could theoretically plug you into that system, and you feel like you're being tortured for a millennium, but it's only been 5 minutes. They could make clones of you, thousands of you, and just figure out how to murder kill you over and over again. Or they could just have a conversation with you, or they could insert you in an alien body with 12 limbs and 3 legs, and you breathe methane or something. Like, who knows what they might do to you? And our main character's like, yeah, I get it. I'll still go. Why not? And then he's just a frozen brain heading off into of course, the Trisolarans are going to find him, even though he headed off in the wrong direction because of the failure. But that's beside the point. I like the idea of disruption. That's where drama comes from. It is not the solution, it is not the end point, but the we all know that drama is comes from conflict. People have a need for something, they want or need something, and there's something in the way. And what is that need when society is disrupted? Is it peace, safety, power, and influence? So on the surface, using a Vampire to Masquerade, you had they had a two-word alignment system, if you want to call it that. You had a nature and a demeanor. Your demeanor is what you show to the outside world, but what's your true nature? And you can have a thing where your NPCs all show something to the outside, like I'm going to say a religious in an important religious figure is very calm and peaceful and wants everyone, but maybe that's their demeanor, but maybe their nature is very power hungry. Yeah, if these are our new gods, I'm going to appeal to I'm I'm not going to appeal to their better nature. I'm going to appeal to their arrogance. Like I'm just like you guys. Make if you guys are gods, I want to be your spokesperson. And yeah, cuz I don't want to be one of the plebes down below, right? And so there's a lot of that, and I like the idea of disrupting it. And I think for those who like more action oriented run and gun kind of role playing games, very easy to insert like laser weapons and blaster rifles and power armor and such. And you can actually decide like how popular, how rare is it? Like maybe the players are the first ones with it, or they think they are, and then they crest the proverbial hill to the next region and realize that there are other people who also have contact with these Trisolaran type aliens that are also giving them even better technology. And the PCs are like, damn it, I thought I was a special snowflake. So yeah, all of these things could be possible all at the same time. And so I like it. Yeah, the ultimate brain freeze. That never goes away because they can't unfreeze you. Yeah. I showed the aliens what a brain freeze feels like and what it means to get a paper cut and what it means to have your fingernail bent backwards and what it means to have your funny bone hit and what it means to get an eyelash caught in your eye and what it means to have a bee sting and a piece of lint flow into your ear that you can't get out, but you're just like, stop it. I know what it means to burn the roof of your mouth. I taught them all that. And they said, you humans go through all that stuff and still live? Yeah, we're tough. Yeah, you humans eat what? Oh, we eat meat. You mean you eat other biological life? Yep. And we burn it too. We freeze it, burn it, hunt it, cut it up, shred it. What? You live in the hottest and coldest regions of your planet? Yep, on purpose. You carry around bacteria in your stomach gut and you like that? Oh hell yeah. You know what we do? We eat hot wings. Yeah, it causes us pain. It gives us ass fuel. By the way, Trisolarans, here's what ghost peppers taste like. Trisolarans are like, you do not lie. This is pure ass fuel. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for being part of the show. Um, I didn't do very much world building with you. I pretty much just spoiled the entire show, but it is very much a geekathon, and that is a little bit of a lot of this the disruption of the television series and why it is that some like and don't like it, the television show. Um, so yes, it is very it's for those of us that are very scientific minded and love that kind of stuff. I understand why it's very difficult to visually show it and not have basically people talking in rooms or do the walk and talk. You have to actually show something. So I understand why that turns some people off from the show. Also, they made the books um world yeah world they made new characters to make it more um, worldly instead of Chinese based. Some people don't like it that way. But listen, when you read, like I said before, whenever you read a book, the book will always be better, or vast majority of time, books are always better than the televised or movie version of it because you've already created the soundtrack, the actors, the pacing. Um, Books are generally 3 to 5 times have more words and descriptions in it than a movie does. So, Shez, I will be flying to America tomorrow. See you on the other side at 6. Wow. Well, hey, that's awesome. That's awesome. We will have to. We'll, one of these days we're going to have to see each other face to face in some kind of way. Three count down to Armageddon, 3.5 years before I retire, and I make this my full time. Well, not full time job. This becomes my Walmart greeter job as a retiree. So yeah, I know I have never had a ghost pepper because I don't want to destroy my insides. So no, I've never had a ghost pepper. Now, mind you, I do eat hot, like I'm a hot wing. I've turned into a hot wing person. My wife actually turned me into that. So I do like hotter things, um, jerk chicken, that kind of stuff. I do like it, but I'm not a person who likes to eat food and lose calories while I'm trying to eat. Armpit sweat, need to drink the gallon of milk. No, 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 no. That's all right. I'm not a hot ones person. But anyway, guys, I've held you far too long. Thank you very much for being part of the show. Thank you very much as well for letting me just rant and rave and spew about these kind of concepts. I really appreciate it. So I'm going to take you out on a few moons. There will be no sound, and then we'll go out on our usual obsidian star. So guys, have a great one. Oh, thank you very much for being part of the show. Choices will be in Berea, Kentucky. Oh, not too far from Cincinnati. Would love to meet you in real life, but Columbus isn't that close. From Kentucky? Well, from the border, I'm about an hour and a half, hour 45 to drive it. So yeah. Yeah. Shitlords, I am as fuck. What? I I hope I'm getting an image. Oh, I'm afraid of ghost peppers. I am both scared and or frightened of the same. Yeah, yeah. No ass fuel for me either. So guys, have a great one. I'll see you later. Peace and tranquility. Bye.